You, Tracy. Okay, so so basically, what we are going to do today is just show you both versions of ACP Business One, meaning the HANA version and the old SQL. Not old, but um, the way it was, the only way it was possible to do before. We'll show you the cockpits. I don't know if you have used the cockpit before. This is something available in ACP Business One since a couple of years now. It's a different way to show your data, to show you your basic functionalities that you may use on a day-to-day basis. So today, just an overview with my PowerPoint. We're going to show you. I'm going to show you what is a cockpit. What you can do with it. How you can activate the cockpit if you don't know how to do it, especially in SQL. And then I will do small presentation in SQL to show you how you can play with the widgets, define your templates, show some dashboards, do some personalization, and at the end show how you can control authorizations on what can be done or seen by people. I will do the same for the last part of the last 15 minutes of this presentation with the HANA side. And we will do more or less the same thing. We will play a little bit more because there is more feature than SQL on HANA side. So I will show you what we can do with the menu enterprise search, and we will play with the Kpis and some dashboard analytics. All right. So if we start with the SQL, or SQL, I think in English you say often SQL. I will log to a company. And you would see here that this is what you have or what you are used to with the regular display of the ACP Business One, meaning what you can see is your usually on your left side you will see your menu, and then you just open your documents and play around with your stuff. So the cockpit view will bring you something more. So if we go into the administration modules and we go into system initialization general settings, there is a cockpit tab on the general settings. If you go there and if you click on this one in the SQL type database, you will activate the cockpit for the company. This, what it will do, it will give the chance to user to either choose a cockpit view or the regular view of ACP Business One. So first you have to activate this in the cockpit window. And then you would go and as a in the tool part of your system, go in cockpit and say enable my cockpit. So each user can decide if he's going to use the regular menu, and so the cockpit will activate only when you log in. So you have to log out and log in again in your system. And once you get in, you will see your ACP Business One showing differently. So you will see some your menu looks a little bit different because you are going to play with different type of cockpits. This one that is currently loading is the default one. It's like the home. In the home one, you would have some different section of your cockpit. I would explain a little bit later what kind of section you can have there. So what I see there is just in this particular case, it's a special dashboard that popped up over there and showing me that some inventory was not counted for a certain period, and there is some risk attached to that. This is what you can find there. So your regular menu, if you wanted to play with your menu, if you go on the right side, you would find, the menu would be there as before, the exact same menu, and you still have your drag and relate if you're using this. But on my cockpit, you would have some, I would say, group or different group of your business, are using different information depending on what, they normally do. So if I go on the sales cockpit, This is out of the box. It comes with ACP Business One. You just have to activate it. You will have, in this case, we have a special dashboard for sales analysis. In this current scenario, I haven't added any invoice since a long period, so this is why it is flat right now. We would have to go back in 2016 to see some data. But if I add an invoice, I should see it there. So each department will have their own cockpit. There's one for sales, one for service. Finance will get their own cockpit as well. And in this particular case, there's a special dashboard that is available to show your cash flow. One for the purchasing, and if it's not enough, if the one out of the box are not enough, you can create your own. You can just go in the tools, cockpit, go to cockpit management and create your own cockpit. In this one, I have just I made one this morning for a presentation in French. So what I did, is actually we can close these windows. Okay. So each cockpit, you would have some predefined view if it's for sale, etc. But each user has the ability to organize his desktop, the way he wants, So in my particular case, there was what we put on this section of the of your window is what we call widgets. So there's 5 types of widgets. The first one would be the common functions. If I drag this and I just put that in a section of my, I would have where I would have to group there here in this section the most common function I'd like to work with. For example, I am working with sales. I'm doing and recording sales orders. I would just drag the sales orders in there. I'm doing some returns. I'm also responsible for AP invoice. I would have also business partners. I know I have to maintain business partners. I would add on, stuff like that, on and on. So what it does, so instead of going into the menu, I just have right there on my front desk, I want to create a new sales order. I would just click on this and it would just bring me a new sales order. I can fill in the stuff I want. The other widget we would have is the open documents. So this is often useful. And by the way, you can size your own, if you want that a bit larger, you can have it, or you can make it smaller. You can make it smaller and just move that up. My open documents from there, okay, let's say what I want to see. If I go back in the settings, I say, okay, I want to see sales quotation, sales orders, deliveries, and invoices, for example, or in credit memos. Okay, so just in that window, I don't have to go in the report and try to find the open document report. I just go there. Yes, here it says I have 17 sales quotation open. So I can double click on this and it would just bring me those sales quotation in a window. And if I want to work on one specifically, I would just open it and do something about it and call the customer. Well, what do you want to do with this sales quote? So open documents, common functions, the navigator or the web navigator here, you can predefine a website. You just go in the settings, it would just go predefine a website and you would have, this is a full working navigator. You can go there and just, play with all the different pages you want. So this is the browser. One for the message in the alerts. So all your alerts would show there. Instead of having a window that pop-ups all the time over your window, you would just have there in the background. Every new alerts would show on your message and alerts as a bold script, and it would be able to go there. And finally, the last one is really the coolest part of it, dashboard widget. There is few predefined dashboard. We see all those 6 dashboards. So There are not so many for now, in ACP. These are the one that comes by default with your ACP Business One. If I want something about customer aging, I would just, select that, and I will have my customer aging dashboard in my window. Now, if you first set, and if you try tomorrow or today, you try to set, and try to find this dashboard widget, it might not be there. Dashboard widget needs an additional setup in ACP Business One to be enabled. We have to activate what we call B1 integration. This is something done by your partner or your consultant. It will take about an hour to do so. But then once it is activated, once we have set it up and you are in the cockpit mode, you will be able to find. So there is 6 predefined dashboards. If you need additional ones, additional ones can be easily defined. You will need an additional program called ACP Crystal Dashboard Designer. This is not license free. You would have to purchase a license to prepare the designer, but what the designer will do, it will connect to your database. You will be able to extract data from here, prepare some tables, prepare some graphics. You can have any kind of graphic you can think of, dials, or I would say pie charts, anything you can think of, and make something as complex as this one, where you could, actually, in some case, drill down in those functionalities and make, the data you want. So every time you open your system, you would be, you get warned with the what you feel, what is the most important things to see or the most important thing to know when you get in the morning on your desk. So that's the dashboard, that's the cockpit of ACP Business One. So again, in SQL, this is user activated. So each user has the ability or not to use that, to use this cockpit or to use the regular functions. If you don't want them to play too many or too much with that, in the authorization setup by user, we have a complete chapter on Cockpit and Widget, and there you can define what the people will be able to see. Are they able to play with their command function, open documents, etc. And you would be able to tell which report are available to those people. So this is secure. So if you have some dashboard that are more sensitive, like cash flow, you don't have to show them to everyone. They would be only show what they need to do. So this is basically what is the cockpit of ACP Business One. We will revert to the other database, the one that is on HANA platform. So here I have my HANA database, same company. Right now we just see as it was before in SQL, the same menu we can find, and I will have to activate that as well in this one to see the HANA cockpit. So systemization, general settings, in cockpit mode, I will choose this one here. So you see this in HANA, there is a different function. It's called Fiori style cockpit. And when you are using this, this cockpit is not only applying a cockpit to the system, but it will change the entire, how the entire view of your company. The layout itself will be completely different. We'll see that. And this is applied to all users. So in HANA, if you decide to go with the HANA cockpit, every user will have to stay in that format. But they don't have to use the cockpit itself, but they would get the same exact view. So this is what we call the Fiori style. So you see, by the way, just right now that the cockpit looks very different. Where is my menu? Your menu will be there on the right side. It will, it is organized as before. You still have your dragon relay there, and the only difference would be here that from there, if you want to do some search, the search will be in the lookup menu just there. So I want to do a sales order. Okay, it will bring me everything you can find, every menu, where it want to do a sales order, and then I just type, my sales order would come up over there. I'll go in details with the other stuff. Search Enterprise. This magnifier here is a search engine that will bring you a lot of stuff. If I go there, it is able to look at almost everything you can think of in the database. So if I just type 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the search for 1, 2, 3, 4, it will bring me, from the system, everything you can find that match that criteria. So actually, the system saw one item that has this 1, 2, 3, 4. They saw one invoice, one delivery, one order, one quotation, etc. This is the item. So you get already some details about your items. If I hover over it, try to do it again. Whoops. Okay, it was on the other one. So you see some details. There was an incoming payment that had this, probably it is the reference number, or the 1, 2, 3, 4 was found in this incoming payment somewhere. An item called 1, 2, 3, 4 in this sales AR invoice has a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So this is a powerful search engine. You want to find something. The customer doesn't really know what is the PO or the order number, just you knew what was the amounts, etc. You would find it. So it brings you, very powerful search engine. So and you can move it around. If you don't like in this area, I can take it and move it. Okay, I'll put this more on the left. So the cockpit itself. So in this area, you see a bunch of square. This square, is what are the most important things, you can think of, that you would like to see on your screen. This section, the middle, and this middle section is your what we call the workbench. The workbench itself, is more or less it will show your business process. This one is particular to the sales process, but we have for purchasing, we have for inventory, we have for financial. So everyone would follow, the basic steps. So in this process, it starts with sales quotation, we go to sales orders, delivery, or invoice, etc. So that gives us the chance, to open any document from there, or if I want to open the customer card, this is another way to go quickly on the document I want. So the workbench, by default, ACP Business One will bring you, if we go there, we have those 5 workbench, one for finance, sales, purchasing, and inventory. You can create your own workbench. This one was created by me, and you can add your own stuff, So you can define workbench for a specific group or specific department, and they will have their own set. What else we find on this window? You will find what we call the Kpis. This one here, this Kpi is will just tell you what are the total sales amount of this month. Of course, I haven't entered any transaction for the past month, so my current sales are 0, and it would show me here that my sales compared to last month are down by 100% because I have done nothing, and it tells me that it's going down. What else do I see? I see some sales order that were not delivered. If I click on this, it will just bring me those 2 sales orders, and then I will be able to drill down and find out why. What is the problem with why this item was not delivered? So it's very easy to find. Those queries, those what we find here in this window are fully customizable. It's only, it's only a query, a SQL query that would define and store in the query manager. We can pick that query manager and attach that to a small count like this, and when we click on it, it would just bring us the information. I have another one here, short PO. Would just, if I click on this, it tells me that I have 17 lines. I open that, I will have all my 17 lines, and here short PO would tell me that which purchase order are either received late, not received yet, or that the open quantity or the quantity received is below what was expected before. So any query you would think of, anything you would like, so we call that a count widget. Count widget, you can add as many as you want, and it's very easy to define. To define a count widget, you would just go into the cockpit and go into the count widget setup, where you would define you would give a count widget name, a description, and then you will link to your query, and that's it. You will have your count widget. So the Workbench, the count widget, there is a special, I would say, widget here is called my recent updates. Any modification on any document you create in the system will just add up here. And also, if I go in my if I create a new sales order, just duplicate this one. And I just go there and select a customer. Okay, so if I refresh this, normally the system will refresh every 5 minutes or 15 minutes, but you see now I have my new sales order. So if I did something today and I don't recall what was the customer I work on, which was the item I worked on, which document I worked on, it would just pile up there, and then just go back and work on this again. Other KPIs. This one, is just listing my best-selling items. Those KPIs and those like this one here, we can personalize them, and we can, select a different one or add as many as you want on your desktop. Well, how it is done, you just, click on this pencil here. This one, even I can reduce the size of this one because I want to put more space on there. We'll just reduce the size of this one, reduce the size of this one again, and then I want to add new dashboard and new KPIs. So you will see here, different from SQL, is that with HANA it comes with a good load of predefined KPIs from the system, and a good load of dashboards. Stuff about your top 5 customers, stuff about your sales, stuff about your purchasing, your inventory status, etc. Something about your employee performance. Anything you can try. You want to see some gross profit, you can just activate them. To activate one, you just select one, like this one here. It comes in green, means that this one is active. Okay, I would like a delivery analysis as well, so I would just add this one. And now if I save my dashboard, okay, looks like I'm missing something there. I don't know why, first time I see there. So I would have to see, I will select another one, but the, where's my other cockpit? Sorry for that, I don't know what happened, and my flash should be there. I should get a cockpit like this one.
What if we just refresh, Robert, at the top, if you just clicked on refresh maybe?
I can try.
Just in case.
That's strange.
It is.
So, okay, I don't want to install
No, this
Flash
is.
right now, but we'll see that later. But normally we would get any kind of stuff like that, like this one here. We can go back in this one, and expand that a little bit if we want. Those dashboard or those KPIs, you can modify them. If it's not really the way you want to see them, we have in the pervasive analytics section, we have the ability, or you have the ability, because this is easy to do. In fact, you have everything. Everything I show you is on your hand and very easy to do. You have all your predefined, KPIs are there already. If you would like to modify one, you would just go and just select one by default, and then you would be able to there to apply some different parameters. Like for example, the inbound amount, I just don't want to see the sum, I would like to see the average. I would be able to see the average, and my posting date is not for this month, but I want to see the entire year. Would do that. You would be able to see, what would you see? The number shows there can be shown in different colors depending of some parameters or some limit threshold you have defined in the system. The threshold are defined with this bar. So here you would say, so if my inventory value is below 90%, I would say that here I would like to show that in red. If it's above 100%, I would like to see it in green, or even there in between. Let's say that it's just yellow. So when I use that KPI, the numbers according to the value that will show would just bring me, a different color. So it's very easy to see on my dashboard. If I see something in red, it means that probably there is something wrong. We can apply filters and parameters according to all the fields that are available. So if I go in inventory status, stuff like that, I want to see only the available quantities. I could drag. Does it allow me to do it today? Okay. Item description. From same data source. Yeah, I have to go in the same section and just bring. So I would save this. Yes. Oops. This is a system KPI, so it doesn't allow me to override, system KPI. But I can create new from scratch. I can go there and just create a new KPI. I would decide. It can be from a user query. If I do a query, it would just bring me all the data. I can do a KPI, about my open document. I would say there, just bring me the sum of the number of documents in the system, and if I say that I have more than the maximum from my specific value, I would say if I have more than 10 open documents, I would have to show different colors, for example. Let's save that. Enter numeric value 444. Okay. Demo. Where's my numeric value go? 30. Okay. So I have my KPI. I can bring that into the system. It will just bring me that in my dashboard. So KPIs, your specific dashboard, those graphics. You take any graphic that already predefined. You can decide that you want to see, in this particular case, I want to see not only the customer name, but I would like to see the customer code. I am able to bring that over. Want to see the code before the name. I can do that as well, or I can just, you know, want to see this one not in this bar chart, but more in a pie chart. We'll be able to transform that in a pie chart. If I save that, bring that into my dashboard, I will have this exact same graphic. So it's very easy to modify, you know, anything, any type of chart you can think of. Could be a line chart. It is available for you. You can also, let's say I discard. You will have some special dashboards called advanced dashboards, and those advanced dashboard can be attached to a document like this customer 360. You can attach that to a business partner. So when you are inside the business partner master data, you know, and you click on the customer 360, or if you are in a specific KPI and you have the ability to drill down further, you can bring the customer 360 and it will bring you some other, it's like a dashboard with other dashboards inside, or other KPIs. So really here, you know, the customer 360 is a bunch of predefined dashboards that were made by ECP Business One, just to let you know, give you some important information about your customer. This gives you a really good overview very quickly. Like here, we know, you know, total sales amount would be $3.72 million, gross profit 1.42. I have 4 open invoice. This is the sales growth or the sales trend with that customer, and just bring me just that. Churn probability. The churn probability is the potential amount, potential risk, you know, to lose a customer. If it goes high, you know, you might want to take some action with that customer to reinsure that is, you know, you're still willing to do business with him, and he's welcome, you know, to go back with you. Opportunity win rate, stuff like that. So general, you will have some stuff about the sales itself. What are the order fulfillment with this customer? You know, how many days how many days it took to fulfill that customer. All this data, you know, will be used later into the general tab on the churn probability, you know, to calculate, you know, if your customer is more willing to leave your business and or stay with you in the future. Stuff about the receivable, etc. You would see the agent in the graph. And again, this is, you know, modifiable. You can, you know, and save that. So, yeah, so save this again. So then again, I will have to see later why this one were not working, because normally, you know, they would be, there's no reason not to be working in this system. You know, the previous one are exact same and based on the exact same system. So counters, KPIs, and dashboards and Workbench, this is what you can find. You see that there is a lot of them in the system, and it's quite easy to use. One last thing I would say, in a document or in master data, it will be able to for you. If I go, let's go in a sales order. View. If I go there in the analytics section, in a sales order, if I create a sales order and I will see, you know, analytics, any dashboard, we can find them. We can drag that into the sales order. We can drag that into a business partner. And that will be, you know, the same. This one I would say is more the company level. But if I drag a short PO on that business partner, like let's, for example, a purchase order or a goods receipt PO, it will bring me, you know, the performance of that customer or that supplier for specific. What is fun about sales orders, you know, if you go in the recommendation, you create some data, and, you know, based on the historic of this customer, sales recommendation will tell you that, usually this customer not only buy this item, but also buy this, and that, and you can easily just tell them, you can suggest while you're taking the order with your customer, okay, do you want a PC set, for example, and if you like it, you just add it to your sales order. And also there would be like we see often on the web, if your customer bought some items, we can also buy this. So the system is also able to make some suggestions like that. So, okay. So this is the Cockpit HANA. A bit more functionalities than you have in SQL, more flexible. You don't need a third-party software to design new dashboard. Everything is there. Everything is there out of the box, and there are many KPIs available just to play with. And I would say just for the authorizations, it's the exact same as the SQL version of ACP Business One. You can apply authorization on any of those KPIs and force, or block them to be seen from any other user if you don't want them to see. So this was my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.
It was very interesting, Robert.
All right. So sorry for the small glitch. We'll have to find why.
Oh, it's a little detail, but guys, I've seen it and it works. It's just to find what the maybe it's the same glitch that we had with our robot generating the invitation.
Maybe.
The bloody thing.
Yeah.
But,
so any questions?
You guys have any questions? No, no questions. All right, just a reminder, because Catherine, you weren't here when I spoke earlier. This is our last webinar for the spring season, so we're taking the summer off. We're going to kick back up in September, so if you guys have any comments or suggestions on future subjects you'd like us to cover, feel free to send me an email, because I'll be doing that in the month of July, trying to set up what our next schedule is. And if you want a copy of this, just send me an email as well. I'll be downloading the recording of it. So thanks, everybody. Thanks so much, Robert. And have a great summer to all.
All right.
Okay, bye. Thanks. Okay,
Bye.
bye, guys.